Hello everyone. Welcome to Conversations 3X, presented by IE Horizons, and I'm Kamaljeet, your host. If you have been watching our videos before and you have liked them, do like and subscribe to our channel. It will help us reach a wider audience. And today, once again, I have Archana Arun with me. Archana Arun is a health and wellness strategist. She has had two sessions with me before and shared a lot about the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and the Vedanta. These philosophies tell us how to live our daily life, how to take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So Archana will be talking a lot about that, and she's an expert in planning, implementing, and coordinating health and wellness programs. She's the founder of Mokshadham Foundation. They teach yoga and they talk about Vedanta. They have satsangs. She's very well read in the ancient scriptures of wisdom like the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedanta, as I said. She's a physiotherapist. She specializes in mental health rehabilitation. And professionally, she uses this wisdom to help her clients. So today we'll be talking a lot more about mental health and wellness, about how people are struggling today and how each one of us we can cope with ourselves. And thank you once again. Do like and subscribe to our channel and share it with others. Hello, Archana ji. How are you? Thanks for being here again.
Namaste, I'm really good. Thank you for having me. Every time I come to your show, I'm really excited to talk to you and also share information, whatever I can.
I am very excited as well because today I was thinking about that, how different emotions we all go through. And we have our own journey of ups and downs, no matter where we are in the world. We have something that has triggered either some anxiety or a challenge that has moved certain things in our mind. And it may not be wrong to say that we get stuck in certain behavior patterns and we are not able to cope with them. Either we don't want to face them. I really want to learn about this, based on your holistic practice, and because you're a mental health rehab, what do we call it? Physiotherapist?
I am a physiotherapist, which is more of a physical therapist, physical
Yeah.
practices. But over the years, I have developed interest over mental health because I used to see a lot of patients with chronic pain and illness.
Yeah.
And majority of times, underlying cause was stress, lot of stress, either stress related to relationships or work. But most of the back pain, neck pain, or even chronic nerve conditions like, or arthritis, or sometimes just general people label as rheumatic disease or anything chronic, high blood pressure, underlying causes stress.
Yeah, I heard even fibromyalgia, and particularly, women,
Yeah.
and they realize it only when it is chronic, and they have gone through a lot of different stages and different kind of stress at different stages of life, and it all adds. I think it accumulates somewhere in your brain.
It actually accumulates all throughout the body.
Yeah.
So it happens. So first of all, we have to understand what is stress. Stress is nothing but it's a normal physiological or biological reaction to a potentially dangerous situation. I'm using the word potentially because the situation may not be dangerous, but we may perceive as dangerous. Okay, and it can be. It is not can be. It is the health epidemic of the 21st century, I would say. And so stress can be both short term and long term, right? So short-term stress, like you have to achieve a target or a student has to give an exam, that's fine. But what the problem is the long-term stress. Okay. So in stress, what happens? It's like an emergency situation in your brain. So your brain floods with certain chemicals called stress hormones, such as adrenaline, cortisol, and then it gets your heart beating fast, your muscles get energy, and you get energy to work. But over the period of time, what happens if you have long-term stress, like chronic stress, all those hormones get accumulated in different parts of your body. Like it gets accumulated in your heart, lungs, liver, kidney, everywhere. So there's always a chronic inflammation going on in your body. Your body is always hyperactive, or your different systems are always hyperactive. Then the stress becomes negative, like your body is overworked. And this long-term stress is what we are dealing with in today's world. Like people, the stress never leaves. Short-term stress is good, it helps you achieve your target, but long-term stress is like totally fatal for the
Yeah, we
system.
are finding very strange happenings, like at least I am listening and we are reading in the news. Suddenly, out of the blue, people start stabbing and they take violent action. There is no past history of such behavior or, whatever that has happened. And I also hear that are people really born with certain type of mental abilities of this kind where we call them, is it a split personality disorder or
These
what is
personality
it?
disorders could have a genetic basis, but most of the time it's environmental. Okay, the place you've grown in, the kind of parents you've had, and sometimes just environmental factors like finance. Finance is the leading cause of stress in Canada, actually, and personal health is the second, and relationship is next. And it's usually found that, as per the Canadian research, like men have a higher rate of addiction when they are stressed out, and women tends to have higher rate of mood swings and anxiety disorders. So, and majority of the 40 plus, around the 40 years of age, like the 50% or more than 50% of population, they have some kind of stress. And most of the stress, as per the research, starts during adolescent years, like teenager years, 15 to 24, that youth and teenager years. And I would speak of Ontario, almost like 50% of, or more than 50% of Ontario students are very stressed out. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and all the chronic disease is on rise in all parts of the world, not only in Canada. And majority of the cause is this stress, as I told you. So again, when we think that the situation we cannot handle, okay, something is going out of our control, then that stress stays with us. Okay. And we should not forget that stress is nothing but a thought. Okay. That thought creates a havoc in our life. That's the thing, how we perceive our thoughts. So it's all about how the mind is able to process the thought. Okay. So there can be thoughts about personal life. How do I cope with my personal situation or a professional situation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or my position in the society, how I'm accepted and wherever I'm going. There can be, it's just a thought. And when we feel that we are not able to cope up with the presenting situation, we get stressed out.
Yeah, but then there are some people, especially in teenagers, parents may not recognize that even if something has been going on, and these diagnoses, noticing these mental health diagnoses are really taking a different dimension, because every single family I've spoken to, they have somebody in the family who they are saying either it is a mood disorder. There is an organization that is called Mood Disorders. I was surprised. I mean, I found it a few years ago because I needed to help some people. So, I mean, it was very new to me. I said, wow, and they are doing a lot of good work, but yet people who have utilized their services it didn't come out. They were not really, I wouldn't say that they were healed. There was something else that was going on within them. And what was it? Is there something about, like you said, thought process, and how can they switch to another thought process because they're
So
stuck there, right?
yeah. So whatever mental health disorder you can say, whether it's a mood disorder, bipolar, depression, anxiety, everything is a manifestation of a thought. That's all it is,
Yeah.
which comes from the mind. So the thing is, for children or youth, okay, for school going kids or university going kids, we have never trained their minds, right? Mental health was never a focus of training in the school age years. So we have taught them everything, but we haven't taught them how to cope up with difficult situations of life. How do you respond to a situation in life? And that's where, as adults or the policymakers, we have failed to focus on the mental health. And that is why youth is in so much of trouble. We have taught them everything, all of the subjects, science, maths, physics, chemistry, everything we have taught. And but then how to take care of your own mind, we haven't taught them. That's where the problem. And everything what you're mentioning, all the symptoms are of not able to regulate your mind. That's where it starts from. Whereas what I teach, what Vedanta or what teachings of Bhagavad Gita is to train your mind right from the beginning. And earlier you give that training to a child, better it is how to self-regulate. Okay? Because everything stems from one thing, desire. We are all fueled by desires. But when our desires or um, when the situation is not conducive to what we think it should be, desire always leads to anger and frustration. Always. And that's where the downfall begins, when we don't seek help in the right direction.
Yeah,
So,
that's one aspect one can think about it. What about women? Like they don't have that space to think differently. They are in a family. They are doing their regular work. They are doing whatever they are doing for their children, and maybe their child is affected. Maybe they are affected too. And how can one regulate and recognize there, because there is chaos, going to the doctors for different kind of ailments, you are getting a whole lot of chemicals in your body, and but the
so every woman who is a mother has to realize their importance in their family's life or their kids' life, because I have counseled many youth from 15 to 24. And when I counsel youth, when they're disturbed, the first thing they tell me is, please talk to your mom, to my mom.
wow, okay,
Always, 99% of times, because their moms have the same problem or they are disturbed individual themselves. They may have anxiety and anger issues themselves, and that has a major spillover effect on the child. Okay, so a mom has to realize within a family that her position or her mental environment is the most important thing that she can give to a child. So taking care of your own self is the most important thing. Then only you can give that energy to the others, right?
yeah,
Like a wet tree cannot provide shade to others.
yeah, yeah,
You have to be strong enough to take care of others. So for that, you have to first understand what your problem is. What is the locus of the problem? Okay. If somebody is having difficulty expressing themselves, or somebody is getting emotionally abused at the family, or they don't have enough position, so they have to take care of that aspect of life first.
yeah.
Because if there's a constant source of stress and you cannot get out of it, it's a trap, right?
Absolutely, it is a trap. It is a cycle, that one leads to another, and you can't tangent out. You literally have to push yourself out. Put yourself out of that box.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine. It was just, she said, I have had some setbacks, and I really don't know what to do with it. And I said, well, it's interesting that life and time go hand in hand. Life is something like, it's there in the room because you are born and you have life. And time is like the window. When when it appeals to it, it'll open the window to light. And there is no guarantee that everything about the weather will be good. You still have to face the weather. So I mean, this is how it is. It affects you, like whether it is good or bad, you are still dealing with that life, and you're still in that position. You're still in the enclosure, something that is keeping you stuck there. And how to get unstuck. And my purpose of these conversations is only, to reach out to as many people as possible, to help every other person, like help in terms of emotion, or just a simple conversation, or share thoughts.
Yeah, so first of all, identifying and accepting the situation is very important. Like, what is my problem actually?
Yeah,
Yes, I'm getting stressed out, or I'm getting angry, I'm shouting at my kids, or I'm not doing well at work. What is my main locus of the problem? And sometimes I feel once you identify that situation, like who or what is the cause of my problem, then only you can start working on that problem. So that identification is first of all important. So every woman has to think for herself because every situation can be different, right? And then once you, but sometimes we live in denial or we just carry on the situation just because we got stuck in that situation, that then you need to seek support from others who can help you out or guide you in the right direction.
Yeah, that's very important. How to, you should have the courage and the ability to reach out to others, and then you can reset yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it's a taboo to reach out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
People don't speak about their own family issues that they're stuck and they're facing such situation. But I would encourage, seek, if you're not able to reach out to a friend or something, seek professional help if you can.
yeah,
Very, very important. At least that will give you some clarity about what do you want from your life? What is your expectation from your own life? What do you want to do? Right? And then from there, you have to make a plan for yourself. Like, how do I want to steer my life? Do I want to be stuck in this situation all the time? So two things have to go in parallel. First is your outward environment has to change, right? You have to make sure that you're creating boundaries, you're talking to people directly, or seeking help, or stopping the abuser or whoever is giving a problem to you. That has to come first thing. Second, your mental environment has also to change. That means more self-care practices, both at the physical level and the mental level. Both practices have to be done. And if you don't know anything, again, you have to seek professional help or a friend who knows something. So it's always good to have a guide or a counselor or somebody who can guide you from that situation out. Because sometimes when we are stuck in that, whirlpool of problems, we cannot find our way out by ourselves. It's very, very difficult
yeah.
and we feel stuck. And that's where making right decision is very, very important. Like most of the time, ladies I've seen who are in a lot of stress with family issues or work issues, their survival mode is on. So it's a survival mode, like, everyday basis, like just let me finish today's day, right? It's gone now. So that when you live in a survival mode, it's just your hindbrain, you're working from your hindbrain. It's called the lizard brain. You know how lizards are? They react to different situations, or um, crocodile or lizards. That's how they are. That's how our brain functions at that moment. Like just react to everything, survive, and get by the day. Day is done, I'm done. Okay. And then but then the emotions are stuck here. When you foster your emotions, when you really think, am I emotionally happy? Ask these questions. No, I'm not happy. Then what should you do? You should foster your emotions and you start thinking about your emotions and you want to protect your emotions because emotions are very important for a human being. So if you're not emotionally happy, how can you grow? You can never be happy, right? So you have to start fostering, you have to start protecting your emotion. Once you start doing that, whether by yourself or by help of somebody, then your frontal brain, which is actually the human brain, which is like a filter, that starts taking in the right information and starts guiding you in the right direction. So it's a process. Somebody who is in a survival mode, they cannot think for themselves, right?
Yeah. You mentioned protecting the emotions. What does it relate to? Like, is it like a safety net, or like
Yeah,
somebody
it's
is
about,
communicating?
okay, I'll tell you exactly what I mean. So sometimes if somebody has a very deep relationship issues within the family, so first of all, most of the time I've seen women feel guilty about that I should not be feeling this way because it's my family. Maybe I am wrong. But then when you sit and analyze different things, you actually write down things that this is A, B, C, and this is what is bothering me, and this is not right. Then at that point, your brain has some clarity when you really think and contemplate about your situation, why I'm feeling guilty, what's actually happening. So then it's clarity, no, and you're allowed to feel anger sometimes. It's okay to feel angry because of the situation. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you should allow yourself to feel angry because of the situation I'm getting angry.
Mhm.
You should not be feeling guilty about that why you're feeling angry or frustrated or why you're in anxiety having anxiety. There's always a reason for your behavior
Yeah.
that each person has to think for themselves. That what is the reason for my and let me just feel that. Let me express that. Yes, I am angry. Okay.
Mhm.
And then when you allow your emotions to express, so that's what I meant by expressing your emotions. Yes, anger is not a good thing, but yes, I am angry because of A, B, C.
Mhm.
Okay? These all things happened in my life. Now, what should I do? Should I be angry human being all my life? No. So, what are the process to change my anger? See, anger is an emotion. It's an energy, right?
Yeah.
Anger, frustration, all these things, or even anxiety is an energy. It's almost like a very rapid flowing river has an energy. That's how anger or anxiety is. It's a very rapid flowing emotional energy.
Yeah.
But as we create a dam over a river, we can use that water, isn't it? Similarly, we can use that energy of anger and give it a nice direction. We can give a creative direction to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Improve your life also.
Yeah, got it, got it.
Yeah.
So then I think what do the like what do our scriptures you sent me some very nice quotes. I didn't have time to go through them, but thank you so much. I will be reading them. But if you can share something from there.
Yeah, yeah. So I was sharing with you from chapter 2, from verse 62 onwards.
Yeah.
In Bhagavad Gita, it talks about anger. How do anger manifest itself? So, uh, whenever our desires or our expectations are not met from people around us or the situation around us, and because we have attachment with them, or in the sense we want those things to be fulfilled, that when not getting fulfilled always results in anger. That's given in chapter 2, verse 62. Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa Sangas Teshu Pujayate. That means whenever Vishay means a particular thought comes in my mind for a particular thing. And when I get strongly attached to my thought, for example, if I get attached to my thought that my child has gone to university should call me every weekend, okay, or come back home every weekend. And when I really want that to happen, and if she doesn't do that, it starts building a frustration and anger with me that she doesn't pick up my phone, she doesn't come back home. It can be applied to any relationship, okay? Now that desire in my mind is based on other person's behavior, isn't it? That desire, when not getting fulfilled from a different person, always leads to anger. This is one simple example. Okay, and then in next shlok of Bhagavad Gita, number 63, Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha. That means krodh means anger, always lead to delusion of the mind. That means I start thinking, okay, why is my child not taking my call? Or why this is happening? Why she's not coming back home? Is she like, what is she doing, in the holiday times? She's not even remembering me. And I'll start thinking all bad things about her, okay? She's wasting her time with her friends or just going to mall, things like that. And then my whole memory goes into like whatever bad things can happen. Then the next line is Smriti Brahmshat Buddhi Nasha Pranashyati. That means when my mind gets diluted, my intellect. So intellect is totally clouded by my own desire and my analysis of my desire, and that leads to my destruction. Then that will lead to a very bad relationship with me and my child, isn't it? When she comes back, I'll just fire on her. Why did you do that? Rather than analyzing situation differently. Okay. So that is a pattern when anger happens. So our mind, according to our scriptures, is divided into four things. Okay. Loosely we call it mind, but according to our scriptures, it's manas, which is thought process. A thought comes to my mind.
Sorry to,
Yeah.
is it that Lord Krishna has defined these four states of mind
It's
in
it's
Bhagavad
from
Gita?
it's from Vedas. It's from Vedas actually. Yeah.
Okay, yes,
So
okay.
I'm teaching a book called Tattva Bodh. So Tattva Bodh is a basic book of Vedant. That's where this functional categorization of mind is given. And these teachings are on my website, on the YouTube channel. It's the book we are studying right now is Tattva Bodh. That gives a very clear definition of all the Vedantic terms. And mind is one of the thing. Mind is a tool that we use to train, right? In Vedant, we train the mind basically to realize our own self. So mind is a very important tool. So mind is divided into four things. First is the mind that thinks. That means, should I go? Should I not go? Should I eat or should I not eat? Should I talk or not talk? So it's called sankalp, vikalp. Sankalp means positive something. I want to do this. Vikalp is no, I don't want to do this. So like a pendulum, that portion of mind is called manas. Okay. And after manas comes buddhi. Buddhi is like when you have made a decision. Okay, I want to go. A firm mind is called Buddhi, which is intellect in English. Okay. And the third is called Man Buddhi and then Chitta. Chitta means memory. Memory or the experiences I have accumulated is like a cloud. So whenever I have to make a decision, should I go to that person's place if they have called me in their house? So that's a thought that comes in my mind. That's should I go, should I not go? Then I decide based on my memory or my past experiences, how that person has behaved with me
Yeah.
or what happened with my interaction with that person. That's called chitta. Chitta, chitta. So, based on that information that I'm gathering from my own past experience, using my memory and using my experience, when I make a decision, a firm decision, that is intellect. Intellect has made a decision. Now, the decision may not be right, but it's a firm decision that has been made. That faculty of mind is called buddhi or intellect. Okay.
Yeah.
These three function only when we have something called ahankar. Ahankar is identification with the body or with anything, your identification. So all these three functions of the mind can only function, for example, if somebody is a doctor, they have to decide about certain surgery about a patient based on all the experience they have decided. But if that person forgets that I'm a doctor, that this is my responsibility, or that identification of a profession is gone, they won't be able to function, isn't it?
Yeah.
So ahankar is something that binds the whole personality.
So
What should
it
I do?
was my thought on ahankar was ego. It's or
In
pride.
Vedanta, ahankar has a very specific definition. Ego is something else, like ghamand or ego is called darp. It's different. Kam, krodh, moh, mad, matsarya. Okay. Kam, krodh, moh, lobh, mad, matsarya. So that's six enemies of the mind that comes in ego. Okay. But in Vedant, ahankar means it's very specific definition. Aham iti akar or aham iti karoti. That means I am in this shape. So I am a mother. So I have an identification of a mother. Or I am an Indian or I am brown woman. That is an ahankar. Like I'll function through my identification. So wherever there's identification, identification is important for functioning in life. Right? I am a mother, I should remember that. What are my duties, Or I'm a healthcare professional, I should remember what to do. That's also a portion of ahankar. But when ahankar gets inflated too much, like I'm too much, like suppose somebody is saying anything bad about women in general, and I get really agitated.
Yeah.
That's also ahankar.
Okay.
When we take things personally, even though it's not related to us
Yeah.
or it's related to us, that's also a part of ahankar.
Okay.
So
Because you're
ahankar,
identifying with it.
yeah, suppose we are Indian and somebody says something nasty about Indian, we get fired up because we are too much, we
Yeah.
are attached to our own image or identity. So ahankar in Vedant means identity.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it has a different definition than the Hindi ahankar word.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. I did not know this.
Yeah. So in Sanskrit, ahankar means identity with your body, mind, what you do, where you're from. It's an identity. It's a very stronger the ahankar, more problems are you having. So wherever there's a hurt, the locus is ahankar. You think for yourself, whenever you're getting hurt or stressed out, ask this question, who's getting hurt?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always a relationship that gets hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. So you become an observer at that time.
Very good, beautiful. So that's what I was coming to. Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta teaches us to become an observer to our mind. That's how it cures the problem permanently. Okay? Because we are always looking through a lens of a role that this body is playing. Okay? And there are two things which I want to mention is the next shloka, verse 64 or chapter 2 is talks about Raag and Dvesh. Hmm? Raag and Dvesh are very interesting terms in Vedanta. Rag means very strong identification or attachment with something. It can be a physical thing like coffee. Oh, I want coffee at 4 p.m. Otherwise, I'll get headache. That's a physical attachment. Or a very strong attachment as a mom for my kids. That's rag. Rag is something that I like intensely and I'm emotionally dependent on that thing. Emotionally or physically dependent on that thing. Okay? That's called rag. And dvesh is like intense dislike. Like I cannot stand this person. If that person is coming in the meeting, I cannot be there. I cannot be in the same space. So that's called dvesh.
All right.
So they say in a spiritual journey or for keeping the mind calm is the most important thing in this spiritual journey or for your own self growth. So, this rag and dvesh, that intense liking or intense disliking about a situation, person, or a place, is a very big setback. It's not talking about normal likes and dislikes, it's about intense liking, intense disliking. When you're emotionally dependent on something, or when you're emotionally running away from something. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Vedant, like the teachings, they teach us how to get over this rag and dvesh. It's very, very important. So, one who can control the mind and is free from this intense liking and aversion, and even when that object or that person is present in your sphere, suppose you dislike somebody and you have to be in the presence of that person because it's a group meeting or whatever, then only you can go beyond and maybe get rid of your problems or your mental problems. You have to first accept, yes, this situation is in my life. And then now, how do I deal with it? Running away will not solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. True. This has to come to a person over a period of time. Uh,
Yeah.
what I'm thinking at this time is a person who is already in a situation, and maybe an adult, maybe a growing person, a person of matured mind,
Hmm.
uh, and is in a situation like that. How do you work with them? How do you guide them through this philosophy? Like they get in touch with you, and
I take
you
them,
talk to them
yeah,
about this, or do you enact based on the philosophy, or share the concepts with them? How do you do it?
yeah. So these teachings are not like a cookie cutter approach. It
Yeah.
all depends what individual's problem is. And secondly, most important thing is where the individual mind is situated.
Mm.
So I see what level their mind is. The different levels of mind, according to Vedanta, there are three stages our mind can be, and it's a spectrum, just like a spectrum of the color, It's a spectrum where there's tamasic mind. Tamasic mind is totally negative mind, totally dull mind, or totally has a victim mindset. Oh, I'm in this situation. I'm a victim of a situation. Okay. That's a totally tamasic mind. It has a lot of inertia. So, and then the next stage, which is a little better stage, is called Rajasic mind. Rajasic word comes from Raja. When your mind is in rajas, that means it's very agitated mind. It's not totally negative, but it's agitated, always wants to, cannot sit silent, always wants some work. It's almost like that jinn that comes out of the lamp, always wanting the work. You
Yeah.
cannot sit silent. That's rajas in your mind. Too much rajas, too much activity oriented mind. And the highest stage is called sattva, which is you are able to sit silently, you are able to analyze your situation. So based on where your mind is, it's a spectrum. People may have combination of all these things. So where a person mind is, I heal them accordingly, because it's not that if mind is too tamasic or rajasic, they cannot meditate. There's a different kind of practice for them. Okay.
Mhm.
So you have to understand each person's mind, and I not only understand their mind, but I also create that awareness within their own mind. And what I teach is a sakshi bhav. Sakshi means be a witness to your mind. Okay, how many times are you able to observe your mind? Because that's how you distance yourself from your mind and you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm very, very non-judgmental. I've seen a lot of people with a lot of addictions, and different kinds of addictions. And in my presence, they're not judged at all. That's the best thing you can do for such people because it's just the mind. Everybody is a potential divine being, isn't it? That's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what teachers. So, but then you have to understand their mind and help them understand their own self, give them that clarity of vision. Once they get the clarity of their own thought, okay? So I go down to the bottom of how they reacted to different situations. I analyze their situation in their practical life. And once they give me that situational reactions, how their mind reacted, then I give them the solution in the sense, next time, this is how you should be behaving. What do you think of this idea? And the ball is in your court. How do you want to? Because those situations will keep repeating in your life unless you learn that skill.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Interestingly, so what happens is, I'll just give you one example. This is many years ago. We there was an incident, and a person behaving very differently, in the family, and had actually it was something like a mood swing, or probably a personality or bipolar. We don't know what it was, and the doctor was giving antidepressants, but the reaction from I would say, okay, the patient is something which is very different, uncontrollable behavior. And you know how it is in India. They said, this person is possessed, and the person is possessed. But like, how do you identify this? And I will give you another example also, in a similar situation. I was talking to a psychologist. Like, I keep talking to people, who are connected with psychology and holistic practices. This is somewhere, I'm driven to that because I know the solution is there. And this person said, the doctor, he was a medical doctor from Germany. He immigrated to states. He was in one of the states there, and he said, I took up shamanism because I felt there were no complete solutions in this, in the medical field. And he said, sometimes people get affected and possessed with 4 or 5 entities also every second person, because you will see more and more, this aggression will become more and more as the time is going to pass. And I said, what about when people meditate? People meditate. I mean, for me, the solution is, go within yourself and work on yourself as an observer, like you said, like, and see where the thing is coming from. But then he said, that's not for everyone. People who have a temperament, who have anger, they cannot meditate. They should not, because that anger will come forth in their life. These are so many things that get, while you're talking, these thoughts are coming to my mind, because you mentioned about the tamasic and the rajas state, and then the sattvic, sato. These are the gunas, right?
Yeah,
Tamo,
these are the
rajo, and sato gun.
yeah.
So how do you explain, because you are again a person with a medical background, and also you are aware of the holistic scriptures.
Yeah. So, people who are in tamogun, like which is like totally negative, totally in a different direction, um, what you call possessed, they
Yeah.
can treat it with meditation, not at all. They either need some medication to calm themselves down, or they need physical practices. Such people you have to put them in some kind of sports. That would work probably wonders for them, like swimming, the whole body sport, not just playing chess, sitting, something like that. So these tamasic people need rajas in their life. Activity oriented treatment is given to them. Even with pranayam practice, the breath practice that we do, probably Kapal Bhati would work better for them because it's movement oriented. So that's how I identify and give them solution. And if they follow it, results are magical. But they have to sometimes see if there's a clinical depression or clinical psychosis, they have to go to proper diagnosis and treatment medically. That's true. Some situations are so bad we cannot treat with them with this one unless they calm down a little bit. What if somebody is physically aggressive? We cannot treat them with Vedant. No.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have to have that medicine to calm themselves down till they get little better. But definitely, if somebody has developed some awareness, they're ready to change by themselves. Okay? First of all, the person has to understand that I'm in bottom of my life, you know, and there's only one way I can go, which is up.
Yeah.
So that thing has to seep in the person, then only these teachings work. So the person has to come up to that stage. But I'm definitely not in favor of medicine for long term for any kind of even simple depression or anxiety or mood swings, even bipolar. I think these days kids are labeled bipolar very easily.
Yeah, very easily.
Be bipolar. We also have mood swings, but that doesn't mean that your mood affects your life. Everybody can be bipolar here and there, right? We are sometimes too happy or too sad. But then You have to learn to come back to your normalcy. Maybe some people is too much, too many episodes. That's why they get labeled as bipolar. But I think they get labeled too soon, too fast, and younger people are getting labeled, which is not good. They need to change the methodology a little bit in diagnosis, I would say. And then for younger people, I think parents should be more aware to introduce their kids to, first of all, kids need a lot of activity. If they're silent or just spending their time on video games or screen time, they're bound to get some addiction. Okay?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
very important how you spend your time. And that's where I always emphasize on discipline, inculcating discipline and physical fitness. Without physical fitness, you cannot be devoted to your spiritual practices or your mental growth. Mind needs that healthy body.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about these people who are being labeled as being possessed, or like and having this psychosis, um,
So
and they
that's what
hear
I'm saying.
voices, and they might react very differently,
I'm saying certain conditions need medication and medical intervention.
Yeah,
That they can be really harmful to themselves, they can be suicidal, and they can be uh, harmful to others also, right? So you have to monitor such cases. But I have also seen people who were suicidal, but I haven't seen them in that episode of
yeah,
into that, but they have come out of that acute stage and they're in the chronic stage where they have started developing some awareness. Okay. But again, that's what I'm saying. The medicine should not be for lifetime. Once
yeah.
the medicine is, it's only for short time. Like you get a wound, you put a medicine, and then it should start healing, and then you take care of your skin. Similarly, if you get a psychosis in your mind, you get some medication for a little while, get slightly better, and then start doing the self-care practices. You should not be considered yourself a candidate for medicine all your life. Like, at least I'm not in favor of that. So that's why there has to be a holistic approach where medical practitioners realize that this should not label them for lifetime.
And they have side effects, like they
Yeah.
affect the brain, the structure of the brain,
Lot of side effect,
growth
lot.
and all. There is growth and all. I heard recently that there's growth in the brain that gets triggered with some of these antidepressants. If
And I
that,
feel it's become a fashion for today giving medicine for ADHD, attention deficits for
yeah,
children.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All children are these days having attention deficits, some kind of it, borderline or little bit mild form because of the screen timing. That's what I feel. Once we start training them for kids in the right direction, give them books. Books are better than screens. I think all the homework and everything on Google Classroom from primary children or even middle school children are not good.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's how they become adults and that's how they become stressed out adults.
yeah. Little patience with themselves too.
Yeah.
They are not able to complete a task or something, then they get very restless. I see that in my grandson.
Yeah.
I was,
Social media too, right? How many adults are always looking at social media?
yeah,
Yes. So rather than spending, so that's what I'm saying. You have to limit the your time, what you're spending in knowing about the world unnecessarily, which is not needed, and spend time with yourself more and more.
yeah, yeah,
Because it's been researched that spending more time on social media can lead to depression also.
yeah.
Because it's all fake. People are posting pictures of really they're happy, but actually everybody, no, nobody's so happy all the time.
Yeah, and what is that? I don't remember. It's not coming to my mind, where young girls get influenced by their,
Celebrities?
physical slim. They want to remain slim and very slim, bulky, like
Anorexia, right? Like
anorexia, and yeah. So they
bulimia, anorexia, all these are eating disorders
Yeah,
where
eating disorders are there, and then they take some medications and all. There are some medications that have been banned, and some have been researched, and some say that some of something like I don't want to name it, starts with them. They say it's safe, but I don't think there's anything safe about it.
no, I feel the culture of the family and the way mother herself perceives her own image. is very important for girls, how they perceive themselves.
Yeah.
So that training has to be done from the childhood, inculcating values system and not be dependent on your own physical appearance so much that you're so obsessed with your own physical appearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That value system is very, very important. And how a mother is called the first teacher. I always emphasize that how a mother perceives her own self. That's why a mother, when you become a mother, it's a challenge for life. You have to become very strong. First, you have to take care of yourself, and then you have to take care of your kids as well. So, discipline is the first thing I always talk about. What time you sleep, what time you eat, what you eat, how you eat. I think we have talked about all these things in a previous
Previous
podcast.
also, yeah, we have, but I'm wondering how do we summarize this? We have discussed about so many things, and
Yeah,
my particular focus was that how to direct people as well to holistic, readings and understand, to prevent and spread the word around.
yeah. So, first of all, realizing this, that solution lies within our own self. First thing has to be realized because I see people rely too much on the healthcare system, that the healthcare system will cure them.
Yeah,
It's not going to happen, okay? Especially with mental health. Nobody has a solution, okay? You may get some short-term solution with medicine or some counseling in the healthcare system, but it's not a permanent solution. Permanent solution comes from very deep understanding of our own mind. And that's where these teachings play a very big role to understand your mind. But just understanding mind doesn't come without your disciplined practices. Okay, every day. Like I told last time, there are like three pillars of good health:
yeah,
good food, good sleep, and good exercise.
yeah, yeah.
These are the pillars of mental health too. Like if you constantly sleep late at night, your cortisol level is always high. From the time 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is very crucial for the body because at that time, not only liver detoxifies our body, okay, but also brain gets cleaned at that time.
Okay.
If you don't do that on a constant basis, you're accumulating a lot of garbage accumulated through our day. It doesn't get flushed out. And that leads to a lot of stress. It's actually physical. Stress has physical manifestation in the body. People don't understand. Forget about these teachings. Physically, you have to monitor your lifestyle before even you talk about the mental health. Most of the time, kids who are stressed out or are labeled with all these things, they get up till 2 a.m. Very common in youth and children, high school children,
Yeah, yeah.
and adults too. That's the basis of all the chronic diseases like thyroid, diabetes, high blood pressure. Okay. And arthritis too. Everything, cortisol, the stress hormone is the base, and that increases from 10 to 2. Whereas you should be in deep sleep between 10 and 2.
That's hardly we find, don't find anybody sleeping that.
Most people who take care of your health, like most of my participants, they do that because that's one mandatory requirement from my side. You must sleep by 10. So, and that's where you find changes in your mental health in long term. Okay. How you eat. Are you eating in a rush, while watching TV or some screen or Instagram? How are you eating? Okay. Eating should be done like you're doing a puja. It's you and your food. There's a shloka in Bhagavad Gita people usually used to chant even now in ashrams like Brahma Arpan Brahma Havi Brahma Agno Brahmana Hutam Brahmena Tena Gantavya Brahma Karma Samadhina. I'll explain each meaning. Brahma means the ultimate reality. Okay. The true self is called Brahma. Okay. Brahma Arpan. Arpan means to give, surrender. It's almost like you're doing a yagya, right? Or a fire sacrifice. Brahma Arpan, Brahma Havi. Havi is the ladle or the spoon or the hand with which you eat. That's also Brahma. Okay. Brahma Agno. Agno means Agni means fire. So how in the fire sacrifice you put that thing, right? Akshatya, jo bhi dalte hain. That's how you're putting the food inside you. There's a Agni inside your belly. There's a belly fire.
Yeah,
It's also Brahma. That's also roop of Ishwar, right?
yeah,
Arpan Brahmavi Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam. For we are doing that the process for Brahma.
yeah.
Like but that's a basis of mindful eating. You and your food.
That's beautifully explained, like it is a complete a ritual in itself. It has to be taken like that.
Yes.
We are
And
just
then eating
looking
is a
at the phone
ritual.
and messages and, okay, this is the only time I have 10 minutes.
No. Before you sleep, suppose you sleep at 10, you decide I'll sleep at 10. After 8:30, you should put your social media away or phone away. At
Yeah,
least 1.5 hours, because that blue light constantly sends a signal and activates a pituitary gland, which is right behind here. Okay?
yeah,
Couple of inches behind here. That wakefulness, that, oh, it's still light. And that activates the entire system. That is why it's very important to wear that blue glass filter or have a filter on your cell phone or this thing, laptop, but also leave everything by 8:39 p.m. Okay? That's why I'm saying it's doable. You have to transform your lifestyle if you want a change. Otherwise, your mind will always be in tamas and rajas. It won't progress from there.
yeah,
And only a mind when in sattva can meditate. Other minds cannot meditate deeply. You can pretend to meditate, but you cannot meditate actually. No matter how much you do chanting, puja, or pranayam, or anything, unless your mind is not in sattva, okay, you cannot sit in silence or you cannot progress in your spiritual journey or mental health journey also. So that's why these are the basic, I always emphasize these pillars of health. Even people having psychosis or psychiatric episodes, once they're past that acute stage, they have to train about the lifestyle, what time they're getting up, what time they're sleeping, what type of food you're eating, what kind of, is it higher the shelf life, lower the life of that food?
yeah. Yeah, this is very important because I notice even for me, I'm guilty of doing that because I prepare some food. Okay, this is there, and okay, for 1 or 2 days, sometimes we make curries and all, we freeze it. Okay,
No, you should never do that. That's really bad for body and mind. Unless there's an emergency situation, occasionally you can do, but not on a regular basis.
Yeah,
So please remember, higher the shelf life, lower the prana of that food is, energy of the food is.
yeah,
And you are what you eat. So that's what I'm saying. You won't offer stale food in an offering, puja offering, will you? Frozen food, stale food. No. Why are you offering to your own body, the belly fire? Why are you offering that? So having a food is like doing a yagya. So yagya bhavana has to be inculcated while having the food. It's almost like you're doing a yagya. Okay. So we covered sleep, we covered food, and the next one is good exercise. Now, exercise should be such that it should have all the elements of cardio, stretching, strengthening, and balance. Okay. So you have to pump up your heart, you have to stretch your muscles because muscle itself doesn't get tight. It's the fascia on top of the muscle which gets tight, the white sheath. So yoga has all the four elements. That's what I like about yoga. It has strength, it has cardio, it has stretching, it has everything and balance also. So after practicing yoga for so many years, what I realize is if you do yoga constantly, it not only affects your body, it also affects your mind because those asanas are so carefully, and every time you focus on your breath, you coordinate your movement with your breath. And whenever you coordinate your breath or regulate your breath, it affects your central nervous system. It calms it down. It's been thoroughly researched. Longer and deeper you breathe, your mind becomes more relaxed. Okay. And people having anxiety, they breathe usually shallow. They breathe short, like this, shorter breaths they take. So you're muted.
yeah. Sorry, I uh, it just accidentally I pressed. I was looking for. There was a message popping up, so I wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so how I heal people, it's not that just I talk to them. I monitor their lifestyle too, what they're doing, how they're behaving. So sometimes people say, I'm so busy, I don't have time to focus on my breath or do pranayam. I said, okay, do you have, I have to do like 8 hour job and I have to commute for 2 hours, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, evening when I come back. So I said, while you're commuting, if you get red light stops, can you focus on your breath? So begin from there. So I give very practical solution to people because I'm a mother too, and I'm mother of three teenagers. So I have to have practical solution for my own life where I'm able to do my practices without compromising my time for my family, isn't it? So I remember when I was doing strength training, I used to walk with 2 pounds weight tied around my leg whole day, half a day, while working in the kitchen.
Wow.
So that's the kind of dedication you need to develop if you really want to get out of the mess you're in, whether physical or mental. So
Yeah,
it's all about strength training your body and strength training your mind.
yeah, yeah.
That's the basis of mental health.
Yeah, I really hope people watching this, they'll get a very good, clear message, a very important, in fact, I have taken notes in between and I will share and I might seek something from you again to add to the information.
Anytime.
Yeah,
Any questions you have?
yes, definitely. I will wait for our next conversation, and if there are any questions, I will encourage all the viewers who will be watching, and because this is a recording, they will watch, and they can share some questions, in the description box below the video, and we'll definitely respond to them. I will share them with you, and then respond. Yeah,
Sure.
it's been lovely and it's been a great learning for me too. Like, there were certain concepts which I had different, there is a slight variation because different philosophies, I think even in Hindu philosophies as well, there is a variation, like how we read
So,
language and how we learn the scriptures. There are certain,
so one thing I want to clarify, Vedant is not a philosophy
mm,
as per our gurus and teachers.
okay.
Vedant is a methodology.
Wow, okay, that's
It's
good.
a methodology to discover your true nature. It's like a mirror. Like our eyes cannot see itself. It can see the whole world, but can eyes see itself? No. You need a mirror to see your eyes, right? That is how Vedant is. Vedant is a mirror to know yourself. It's a methodology to reach that true self. It'll give you steps. It's not a philosophy.
Yeah.
It has methodology built into it.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. I got to follow that path. These 2, 3 months, I will try and
I
get,
say to people, these two things, yoga and Vedant,
yeah,
incorporate in your life, it will transform your life. Like total 360-degree turn. It's
wow,
so powerful.
okay, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, and we'll talk again. And let
Yes.
me know when is your. I know you are a very busy person. You have a lot of satsangs also to attend to, and a lot of other. I think you do a lot of video sessions with people, with them. So as a
Our next
therapist,
upcoming satsang is on Saturday. It'll be streamlined live. Saturday, it's 5 p.m. EST. So it'll be 3 hours before, like for you, right, in Vancouver.
yeah,
So if you want, I can send the link to you. If anybody
yes.
wants to attend, I'll send the Zoom link, but it'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. So people who want to follow, they can follow. And yeah, it's been a journey. People who have been attending our satsangs and yoga classes, I see huge transformation in them. One person was so transformed that she herself became a yoga teacher. This summer, she went, this winter actually, she went to Rishikesh and did a yoga teacher's training.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing and send me the link. I will post that as well
sure.
for the satsang. All
Take,
right. Thank
thank you.
you. Namaste.